Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to another This Is 50 video. Filming this on the pier at Deerfield Beach, just north of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is my final morning here. I've been down here for about a week. You have to excuse the bed head. I just literally rolled out of bed a few minutes ago. It's a little after 6, and every morning I've gotten up in time to grab a cup of coffee, come down to the pier and watch the sunrise out over the ocean. It's pretty spectacular, but a little melancholy this morning. It's my last morning here before I head back to the real world and real life and all of the big decisions and big challenges and big changes that wait back home. I was thinking this morning, boy, it's a beautiful sunrise. I don't know if you can see it behind me there. Probably not. Yeah, the lighting's not good. But anyway, just thinking this morning about this week that I've been here and just some of the things that I've learned. And I think the first thing that I would say is no matter what point of life you're in, it's never the wrong time to start doing the things that you want to do with your life. You know, I just turned 50, as you've heard me talk about incessantly in these videos. And as I turned 50 this year, as I came into this year, I realized that I'd spent way too much of my life living it in ways that I just didn't really enjoy living, doing things that I didn't enjoy, not doing things that I do enjoy. And determined to make this year be the year where I started doing things differently. It's never too late to really think long and hard about the things you want in life and the kind of life that you want, and to seize that moment, to seize that day, and to make that life happen, because days pass quick. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and before you know it, 5 years have passed and you realize that you lost 5 years of your life that you'll never get back. 10 years have passed. You'll never get those years back. And you'll never get back the chances and the opportunities and that you lost while you were sitting around waiting for the right time or the right set of circumstances. So make it happen. If you have a dream alive in you, make it happen. I think the second thing I'm thinking about this morning is that everybody has a story inside of them. One of the things that's been on my list of things to do in life is to write a fiction story. And some weeks ago, a story began forming inside of me, and decided to make that happen. This is the story. This is the story that I needed to write at this point in my life. So as soon as I got here, I opened up my computer and I sat down and I started writing. And if you follow me on Facebook, I've been posting chapters of the story just openly almost every morning since I've been here. I'll continue to do so. There's a lot of chapters left to write, and I'm looking forward to sharing those. And then I will have been able to check off another item on my list, writing a novel or a novella, whatever it turns out to be. So everybody has a story inside of them, and sometimes that story, usually, that story is a composite of thoughts and ideas, a composite of other people's stories with our own lives intertwined. That's kind of what my story is about, that I'm writing. The main character is not me, but I intentionally kind of intertwine some of myself into the main character, and I think it's going to turn out to be a pretty powerful story. But you have a story inside of you, and the story that's inside of us is the story that we're meant to live, that we're meant to learn from, that we're meant to embrace and love and live out passionately. So find your story, man. Whatever it is, find your story and then live the damn thing. Live it now. Do it. Just frickin' do it. Time is short. Another thing I learned is that kindness will break down the most stubborn of walls. There's this little coffee shop. You might be able to see it. I'll see if I can get it in the distance here. It's that building kind of right there. That's the shop I go to every morning to get my cup of coffee. And the first morning I walked in here, there's a guy named Richard. He's sitting at a counter just a kind of a curmudgeon-y old guy, and he's sitting there, and I was looking for creamer for my coffee, and I noticed he had a little bowl of creamer sitting next to him, and I couldn't find the creamer anywhere. So I said, hey Richard, or well, I didn't call him Richard at the time. I said, excuse me, sir, can I have one of your creamers? And he just looked up and said, get your own. So yes, sir. So I got my own. But the next day I came in, and he was sitting there again. And this time I just said, good morning, sir, how you doing? And he just stared at me. No expression on his face, just stared at me. Okay, the next morning I came in, and again, I was just being persistent. I was going to make this guy at least acknowledge me and smile, because he seemed like he hadn't smiled in a really long time. So I said good morning to him again, and this time he kind of looked up from his paper and he just nodded at me like that with no expression. Well, the next day I walk in, and again I walk past him, because he always sat in the same chair every day. I had to walk past him, and I said, good morning, how you doing this morning? And he looked up and he kind of cracked a little bit of a smile, and he said, good morning, I'm fine. And I said, I tell you what, I'm visiting here and I'd love to take a picture with you, is that all right? A big old smile broke out across his face, and he kind of nodded and said yes. So today, my final morning, yesterday he wasn't in there. I didn't see him at all. But this morning, just a few minutes ago, I walked in the store, and he was sitting there again. And he had told me his name when we took the selfie, and I said, hey Richard, good morning, how are you? And we ended up sitting and having coffee for a while. And he asked me what kind of work I was in, what I did, and why I was here. And he said he used to live in Detroit. We had this nice long conversation, and I told him I was going home today. And he said, well, we need another picture, don't we? Yeah, we do. So we took this picture, big old smile on his face. I'll post that to Facebook so you can see it. But kindness, just kindness. Be nice to people, and no matter what kind of walls they have built up around them, what kind of defenses they have, whatever their issue is, oftentimes it's just kindness that'll break through. And you might find a new friend, in the most unexpected of places. I think the final thing I'll leave you with this morning is that it's easy to be in paradise, which is kind of where I am right now. The sun is beginning to break over the water. You might be able to see it there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's easy to be in paradise, but it's in the real world where real life happens. The day-to-day, the getting up, the doing your work, building your life, making things happen, taking charge. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's really hard, sometimes it just completely sucks. But again, this whole idea of story keeps playing through my mind, and how we all have a story. We're all living a story, and we all have the pen in our hands. It's our story, and we have to be the ones to write it, on the good days, on the bad days. It's all part of the plot. But I think the biggest lesson for me is never let anyone else write your story. Never let anybody else keep you from the hard decisions, from the changes that you need to make. Never let anybody else put you in a box of where they think you should be. Love you. Peace.